Welcome back to another episode here in Minecraft. So yeah, if you recall from last episode, I ended up dropping the branding for the Deadlands from the thumbnail and the title, and I'm hoping that kind of helps with the algorithm and stuff. But yeah, anyways, last episode we built the foundations to our hillside village, and man, it's looking pretty good. Later today, we are going to do a little bit more work over here. I want to wrap up some of this terrain, maybe stretch this along the cliff here, and maybe even build. We have that cliff I want to build around this mound here. I do also want to go around and replace some of this or all of this grass with man-made custom walkways and stuff. But what I really want to focus on, and it's raining so we can't really see anything, but what I want to focus on today is the storage system. So we have the factory that's going over here. We're going to be building a ton of farms, but I really need this storage system designed and wrapped up. That way we can start storing things, and we really can't build the factory until the other two things are done. But we are also in 1.21.11, and that means there are new things to go play with. All right, I got my new spear here. Yeah, nice. I named it Stabby because it stabs. But yeah, I accidentally enchanted this iron spear with lunge 3, sharpness 4, and knockback 2, which is like much better than what I've got here. Yeah, kind of sucks. But anyways, I gotta go find some creatures now. How does this work? What is this? What am I doing here? Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, I get it. All right, so that's a lot of fun. But let's, we got Nautiluses as well. Nautili? I don't know. Let's go see if we can find some Nautilus. Oh, that was quick. So I know there's like quite a few variants. That looks like a pretty normal one. There's quite a few over here. Go see if we can find any others. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find the armor. I'm going to have to go way out to find the armor and stuff. It would be nice to find like the zombie coral variant. I don't know, I haven't done too much research into this update, so I don't really know what we're trying to find. But I think... well, I need pufferfish, don't I? Alright, let's try to get ourselves a Nautilus. Since we're pretty close to spawn, we should be able to get him back over there. Finally. No, I haven't bred or tamed any other mob. Let's put that on him. And then we should be able to do this now. Nice. I think they have a lunch? Yeah. And I think we can lead them. And I do not have... do I have... I have... right there. I don't have any ideas for names, so if you guys have any suggestions, just let me know down in the comments. So what I want to get started on now is replacing all of this grass block with our custom floor. I think it would look really nice once we get something in here. That way we have like a ground level to start placing buildings on. Alright, so what I'm kind of imagining is we use like cobblestone, maybe some coral, or like the dead coral, andesite, gravel, and maybe stone? Is that kind of the... yeah, that might be good. I've already gone ahead and collected a little bit of coral block, but this definitely is not enough for our platform. So I'm going to continue working on collecting as much of this coral as I can get. I have a feeling this isn't going to be enough. We're probably going to have to find another, what is this? What is this biome? What is this? Warm ocean? Probably find another reef. Yeah. Oh well. So after I was done with that first coral reef, I ended up finding like this massive chain of coral reefs. So I know in the future I'm not gonna really struggle with more of this coral. But yeah, so I spent a little bit of time here working on the roads, the platforms over here at the Hillside Village. And you can see I've got some of that coral that we collected integrated into the paths here. The first one I worked on was down here, so I could use this large space to figure out the texturing and stuff. I left this gap of stone so that that way we could come back later on with like the rock hopper ore block and maybe some packed mud and make the edges look a little bit more muddy than maybe the inner portions. But what I tried to do was go around and kind of use like or create these big blotches of cobblestone. And I've been trying to do this a little bit more in the texturing and stuff of things rather than like these long strips or whatever of texturing, trying to use blotchier, bigger portions of blocks and stuff. Yeah, overall, I think this turned out really good. I think it looks like it's a walkway. Like, if I go up in the air a little bit, it really looks like people have been walking across these paths for like a long time. And yeah, I have like these kind of inner bits where the texturing is a little bit softer, and I think maybe either this is where people have like really hang out around and maybe we build stuff around it, or maybe over here where I've got this larger blotch, maybe we add like a statue or a fountain or something. That might be pretty cool. But I think we've done enough building for today. What we really need to start focusing on is wrapping up the storage system. That way we can get it built over on survival. So what I've spent a lot of time doing here is organizing all the different farms that we need, all the different blocks, different items that we want to store here in the storage system. And then over here, I have also organized the 6 different systems that we may need to incorporate into the larger system here. So we have the main storage input, we have the blind storage, and then we have completed the semi-bulk and the bulk. Now we have a dual storage and workstation system, and then the leftover storage. So over here at the main storage input, this is to control the input into the bulk storage. So our input over here cannot handle more than one shulker box at a time. So we have to control that input by maybe restricting a single input. So this input will output. This input will spit out a shulker box on a timer, so maybe every 15 seconds or so. Then we have some blind storage for things like flowers and plants and things that I don't necessarily need immediate access to. We might just have hidden below ground or something. And then the dual storage and workstation system is a variant of the semi-bulk. This is for things like terracotta, glass, and candles that have a bunch of colored variants that I may want to store like the plain terracotta here, and then maybe have a crafter below that spits out the colored variant. And then we have the leftover storage system. This will be for non-renewables. I think what I've decided is that for anything that we can farm, we're just going to destroy if I need, like if I have extra, like spare. I went and grabbed a bunch of stripped oak logs, and then I have leftovers. Since this is something that is renewable and that I can produce and store here in the storage system, it's something I will destroy. But for something like deep slate that can't be produced using a farm, it's non-renewable, we will have a series of item filters that just filter out materials like this. So what I've decided to focus on now are the easier systems, like the storage input, and I think maybe this. This is just a series of filters and shulker box loaders. This really is not a complicated system. We just have to organize all the different materials that we want stored away in leftover, all the non-renewables. This one's probably going to be the more complicated one. I did realize with the blind storage that I may just need to do multi-item filters, so I just need to figure that out. Uh, and this shouldn't be all that difficult. So we're going to save this one for last and then probably just work on some of the easier stuff first. So I decided to just design everything and not do too much of it on camera here. So the only thing I didn't design was the dual storage and workstation combo. I decided we will be integrating this into the blind storage, and the blind storage is now changing into the minimal storage. We're also going to break up our farms or set of farms into two different areas. So we'll have farms 1 that leads into blind storage and farms 2 that leads into bulk. We are also dropping the semi-bulk system, and we'll just be using the bulk system entirely. I ran into some challenges with the crafter to uncraft materials like iron block into ingots. It was too cramped. There really just wasn't room to do the redstone in a one wide tileable configuration. So we'll just be moving over to the full bulk, this system, and make it a little bit more compatible with the semi bulk. All I need to do is really add the lever here, which locks this hopper, and everything will just be fed into here. So materials will just end up in here, and what we'll be doing is taking all these semi-bulk items, things that I can craft into blocks, like all these items will just be stored into shulker boxes, just like this. So that will make the redstone a lot easier to work with. Plus, now I don't have to worry about the height difference between the two systems, even though this can handle that. It'll just make it a little bit easier when I go to actually start decorating everything and building around it. So I have also put together a little diagram here to make it a little bit more understandable what we're trying to do with the whole system. I broke the farms up into two sections. Farms 1 will handle things like flowers and dyes. That will lead directly into minimal storage, where I'm not going to be pre-packaging everything into shulker boxes. Everything will be filtered into chests and stuff over in minimal storage. We're also going to be incorporating our workstations into minimal storage. That way we can craft things like candles and colored glass and stuff. Farms 2 may feed bone meal into Farms 1. That's why we have a little connection there. Farms 2 will mostly feed directly into Storage 1 and 2. Storage 1 and 2 may also need to send things over to minimal storage for the crafting stations and stuff left over and repackaging. This will be, well, we'll actually be using a series of item filters, like multi-item filters here, plus a series of filters for shulker box loaders. Material that is left over will get sent through, filtered back in, repackaged, and then sent back into Storage 1. And then the reason I had to break Storage 1 and 2, this is bulk storage. And the reason we had to break it up into two sections is because after doing the math to figure out the size of this thing, it was going to be 404 blocks long. And so I decided to divide that by 4, so each length here. So this is like one wall on this side, another wall on this side, and that will make it 101 blocks wide. So I needed to give myself like 2 hallways that I could use. But yeah, now that I showed you guys the diagram that I put together pretty quickly, I want to go through the different systems that I had to like design and incorporate into this. The only thing I didn't really design myself was this multi-item filter for the leftover storage. This is designed by Blocky Bryson about 6 years ago, so it's, I don't know, it's pretty old, but it still works pretty well. So the idea with this is that we will be throwing items into these that I may want to keep a little bit of, but not necessarily like in bulk quantities. I did spend quite a bit of time organizing. Things that I'll be storing here are things that aren't renewable for the most part. Deep slate, tough, all the different glass colors, and then a bunch of copper, and I have both the waxed and the unwaxed variants as well for like each wax or copper type. And then all the different wood types. We have all the saplings here. I am going to be packaging leaves up into bulk quantities and sending them over there, so that's why they're not included here. But then I realized after like organizing all this stuff that I could just expand this as far as I wanted to, and I would just fill in all my filtered items later on. But for things I don't want to package into the multi-item sorters here, I have this filtering system. All it is really, it's just a shulker box loader. Once the shulker box is full, it will break and then get sent through a water stream to be sent back into this input here. This is the main input, And let me grab some shulkers. So this is something I ended up putting together myself. I'm using a cobweb here to basically create our delay. So if I put maybe 5 shulker boxes in here, see it's spit one item out. It's holding one item in reserve, and then we can just basically put as many shulker boxes into the chest here. And once this shulker box falls through the string here, it will unlock this, and the next shulker box will make its way through. Like that. Pretty nice, pretty simple. It did take me a little while to figure this out, though. So if I did my math right, I think I need to go out 7 chunks, which is 112 blocks. If I were to build the whole storage system, the whole bulk thing, in a single line, it would be like 404 blocks long. I divided that by 4, which means I need 2 large hallways, 101 blocks long. So that should mean I need to go about 7 chunks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And if my math is right, each hallway should be, I think, 12 of these. It's like 6 of these along one wall each. So I need to, I think the safest thing to do is to clone this. Make sure I get everything. Alright, I forgot the lever. I think that is everything, so let's do that. Be careful here. Hover over the ground by about 1 block, because I don't really want to copy all this smooth stone into a schematic or anything. I should just be able to do this. So I think this is it. I just went ahead and finished up all the walls. I cleaned up all the items that I had, kind of designating the barrels. I cleaned out the item filters, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's massive. This is like a true warehouse. I did line everything up with the 4x8 chunk area, so we have 5 blocks on either side, and then it lines up pretty perfectly up against the chunk border on both sides, with a 4-block gap between the 2 hallways, and between the 2 walls on either side is a 9-block gap, so we have plenty of space, to roam around here, and a little intimidating. But yeah, we have these unintentional hallways as well that connect both storage rooms. And yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with ideas now. Like I could put walls, I could put a floor here, and then walls here, and I can go up to there, I think. Yeah, and then that would be my hallway, so 2x4 is pretty good. Quite a bit of space. But yeah, now that I have this all laid out, I can go ahead and go into survival, start clearing out an area. That way, hopefully soon, I can get this thing built. Well, I've gone ahead and I've smoothed out the terrain. That way we have some space to build our storage on. And I've also cleared out or smoothed out the area around the storage for the factory and the farms that will be added later on. So what I did is I added this box here using Mini HUD, and this is the platform we'll be putting the storage on. And I actually have the schematic here in the world, and oh man, it's big. It's a big project. I did take a look at the material list, so I know what we need to start working on, and we need about 9 shulker boxes worth of smooth stone, so that's gonna take us a while. And then about 3 shulker boxes worth of hoppers. Oh man, it's a lot of materials. Yeah, I'm starting to consider what we need to do to start programming the system with the factory. It might be a combination of like hexadecimal decoders or encoders and then some serial buses. But I don't know how to do any of that yet. I just designed this so we could maybe do that in the future. Yeah, there's a lot I need to like learn and figure out for this, but yeah, there should be plenty of room now to consider like maintenance shafts. Something about my mouse feels weird. Is it too fast? It might be too slow now. But yeah, I just need to like start, or I need to come into here, maybe start adding the floor. We'll probably come in later as well and clear out more of this terrain underneath the storage. That way we have room for redstone and stuff. But yeah, I did end up taking or tearing down the farms that we had over here. There was only a few, so it wasn't like a big deal. And we may end up moving the farms anyway over there. But yeah, this warehouse over here definitely dwarfs the one I have over here, and oh man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna take a little while to get all the resources put together, but hopefully by next episode I've got everything and we can just go ahead and get this thing built. And once this is built, we can start considering all the farms that we need to build over there. I have a few, or like 4 farms in mind that we really need to use to power the rest of the system. I think a shulker farm, bamboo, bone meal, and there's one more. What is the other? Moss. No. Well, I can't think of the 4th one, but I think there is a 4th one. But oh well. Anyways, we are here at the end of the episode, and I know we didn't quite get anything built here in survival, but we are definitely prepared for getting this massive storage system built for next episode. I have a lot to work on and get materials collected, and oh, man, it's gonna take a while, but it's gonna get done. But anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.